All right, let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's rock and roll.
Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike, the creator of the One Life podcast, believes most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike wants you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The One Life podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities and creates an equal playing field for all. On the One Life podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much more.
Jacqueline, you want some water or
only
anything?
have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the One Life podcast to your playlist. That's the number 1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the One Life Podcast. I am Mike MIC Reed, and as always, I got the lovely Diana from the AV Wellbeing Coalition in the house, doing it the Gotti way. How you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, Mike.
Stop talking about amazing. We're all doing amazing.
Yes,
and we got the lovely Jacqueline Diaz from the Eric A. Garcia. You are Enough Foundation with us today. Thank you, Jacqueline, for joining us as always.
Thank you so much for having me.
How are you doing
here.
today?
I'm doing okay. Okay, yeah.
So I see you have the green
Oh, yes, the ribbon.
ribbon. What's that for?
Mental health awareness.
Okay.
Mental health awareness. And the one,
I did not know that. Okay. But
there's another one that is teal and purple. That's suicide awareness, prevention awareness.
okay. Nice.
Yeah, but I always wear this so it starts the conversation.
Yes.
You ask. So
Yes. No,
it's
absolutely.
a good thing to wear.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing great.
I know
I'm
you said
doing
amazing,
great, guys.
you know, but I'm asking
I'm
you
doing
again.
amazing.
I'm
you know,
doing, look,
great. I'm doing
I'm
amazing.
doing what you do to me. How are you really doing?
You know,
I like that. Yeah.
you know what? It's actually been really, I will say it has been amazing because the last 2 days I've been able to take walks with my kids, something I normally don't do. And I thought to myself, you know, with the holidays and everything around the corner, I want to be more connected with them. You know, they're not always going to be at that young stage where they want to be with mom and dad. So I'm really taking this in. It's the first time we've actually done it for the holidays. So I'm excited about that.
Nice.
It was good.
It's
Yeah.
good. I love it. So today we are doing it's kind of a special show. And we want to do this because it's Tuesday, you guys. You guys know we normally do our shows on Fridays. But because of the holidays, and, you know, we always said that we're going to bring Jacqueline on with us to, you know, continue the conversation about, you know, suicide prevention. And that's what we're doing. And just because of the recent what's it called?
Tragic suicide.
Tragedy, thank you.
Suicide, yeah.
Tragedy, just lost my mind. Recent tragedy of, I can't even think of it, Twitch.
Yes.
Twitch. Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened? That kind of hit the world different.
Right.
Like,
Correct.
It really did. And me and Nikki was talking about it the other day. Yeah, I'm going to say she's off camera right now being shy, but hi, Nikki. But we was talking about it the other day, and it just hit different.
It really does, you know, especially with well-being. That's what we say. It's right. We show up, we feel good. We're struggling, but are we struggling well?
Right.
You know, and that really shook everyone because they were always so happy, so joyful, where they gave that joy to everyone that they came in communication with and they touched. And everyone was just in awe on what had happened.
And you know what? And that just goes to show that, you know, on the surface, things look beautiful.
Right.
But you never know what's going on. It doesn't matter, you know, your celebrity status, how much money you got, how successful you are. Like, we're all human at the end of the day.
Correct.
And you never know. Just because you see them on TV, you see them all happy, and and a lot of people want that world. Like, I was just telling Niggy, like, it's like, wow, you know, I wish I had like a dope family like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just dope. I mean, the way they do everything. And so, but you never know what's going on in the inside.
Right. It's so true.
Inside, like.
And, you know, it's when I used to work in in the medical field, I did work with specialty, and it's a cosmetic dermatology with hair transplants, where for women, right, we have all of the other fun things with breasts or getting a tummy tuck, where sometimes we're hard on ourselves. But seeing it from a different perspective, from a men's angle, it was kind of shocking, you know, because you usually think, you know, men aren't struggling, they don't have anything to worry about. But doing hair transplants really brought me to a different perspective, where they have the money, they have the success, but they're so empty with just that, you know. Right. And it was really hard to see sometimes that struggle, where although, you know, I probably shouldn't have said it, but I would tell, you know, sometimes patients like, well, if they don't love you bald, then, you know, how are they ever going to accept you? And I would tell them, man, you probably look so fine like that. Like, just embrace it. But you have the wealth, you have the success, but still couldn't find just that happiness, that joy, right. You know. And sometimes it was just a simple conversation to be able to be grounded with their reality, with their truth. Yeah. You know, that's why those things are very, very challenging.
So, you know, right after Twitch passed away, you know, I just went online, and it's crazy how things just always like just pop up, right? Like, right. Nick and I were just talking about this. Since you're sitting right there, I'm going to always bring up your name because we have these conversations. But I started going online, and all of a sudden, like, all these articles of suicide started popping up, right? Yeah. So I was reading this one article that actually really caught my attention, and it said nearly 46,000 people in the United States died by suicide in 2020. And I know you know a lot of the numbers, so correct me if I'm wrong somewhere, which is about one death every 11 minutes. Mm-hmm. That's crazy to me, right? And then they, you know, and this is from the U.S. Centers of Disease Control and Prevention. And they said worldwide, nearly 800,000 people die from suicide yearly. And in 2020, there were 1.2 million attempts globally. Yeah. It's a lot. That's a huge number.
Yeah, and it's getting bigger, unfortunately. You know, like I always tell you, resources, right? We do say the number. We do have, you know, the pages and people to reach out. But like in schools, you know, there's so many counselors just for kids, you know, for many kids. And the counselors are there for another thing, just for what, career, or, you know, to help them with the grades. But we actually need mental health counselors in the schools. So the numbers are really, really bad right now. And like you said, every 11 minutes. Worldwide, I think it's every 40 seconds worldwide. Wow. It's just, and it's the second leading cause of death. Right. Might be the first one if we continue like this. Is who knows?
Yeah, with this newer generation, it's unfortunate because, like we was talking about on last show, it's not like how when we was kids, right? Every this new generation has just brought on a whole new meaning of mental health. Yeah. I'm not even sure if it's, because I haven't analyzed it yet. I'm not sure if it's good or bad. Because one, I could say it's good because they did bring awareness to it. Like, right, it's more awareness now, which is a great thing. But two is the whole social media going for likes, and it's crazy.
Being vulnerable just to be accepted. And just before I got here too, I did see another post that there was a child, I guess, that was talking to someone online that thought it was another girl at the same age, but turns out that it was someone extorting, you know, children. And he had sent a nude picture, and they were extorting him to get money, and so his family wouldn't see it. And unfortunately, the child did take his life because he was just so embarrassed from that. But what we've also as parents failed to realize that we rather just have out of sight, out of mind, right? With technology or putting on TV. And now we're leaving our kids to become vulnerable to social media, to playing keeping up with the Joneses, right? Whatever that person's doing, I want to do just to be accepted. When we were growing up, we didn't have that. Mm-hmm. You know, like, yeah, someone could have said something, you know, but that's probably as far as that went, or maybe notes, right? Passing notes. But with social media now, kids are really mean. kids can really expose your vulnerability or you at your weakest point, where as parents, we need to do better to protect our kids, to be involved, asking them, right?
Yeah.
Like what we said, how are you doing?
Yeah, I start asking the conversation. I always tell people like maybe 11 and on, because once they transition elementary to middle school, that's when you need to start having the conversation about mental health. Eric was just like Twitch, like happy. You will see him. He had plans after he graduated from being a mechanic in April, and he was doing an internship in Sacramento, and then I get a call that he died. And no idea, no symptoms, nothing that I could see, And,
I was reading, this article, like I said, it caught my eye because I was reading more about it. And it says, there can be as little as 5 to 15 minutes between someone deciding to attempt suicide and actually doing it, because they can't fix the situation, or they can't think their way through that situation. So that short amount of time is when it normally happens.
Right.
Yeah.
And that is a short amount of time, right? Like you can say something to somebody and go about your way, go have lunch, or go back to work. And in your mind, you can say, you know what, I'm going to check on them later. But that short amount of time is when it typically happens.
Yeah. And I think it's being connected with our own struggles as adults, that our children are very good at picking that up. At seeing that, I try my best to ask as soon as they hop in the car, how was your day? Did anything exciting happen? Being able to pivot, I think that's a tool that we should all, even as adults, know how to pivot through that, because there's always going to be troubling or, things that are out of our reach or control, but being able to pivot. I think just the other day I kind of chimed in for a meeting where you were at, where languishing is a state before you go into depression. And then when you're in that depression, if you're not able to pull yourself out, then you go into clinical depression, where you now have to be under medication and under medical care. But I always, we teach our kids as well, or show the kids the tools of jolts of joy. Because even in our darkest times, we should be able to utilize that tool. There's something that we should be able to be happy about, to be joyful about. And even as parents, we don't know how to be joyful or to put our best foot forward, or even though we're hurting, being able to just turn that frown upside down, right? All of these simple little tools, but languishing it's very real right now, especially with our kids, with our teens, and with post-COVID, where everything stopped. Right, all of activities, all of the social, being around our friends, just being able to go to the park and just play without the fear of getting sick. So that languishing state right now, I feel it's something we all are, I think, struggling a little bit with, right? So being able to focus on jolts of joy, things that, that make you happy. I always ask, like, for example, Jackie, what's your favorite dessert? What is that one thing?
Everything's sweet. I eat anything.
But there's that one dessert.
Cheesecake, probably.
Ooh, right?
Yeah.
So when we're kind of feeling like a little bit blah, when we're feeling kind of that, it's okay to go to that cheesecake, right?
That's what I do. I treat myself.
Yeah. And savoring that moment, that's above everything. It's savoring. Stop and be connected with that first bite. Or even let's think about the scent. We always use ice creams as an example. When you go into that parlor and they're, like that fresh waffle is going, oh my goodness, right? It just gives you that jolt of joy, that excitement. So I'll say this, if we are feeling that blah, it's okay to not be okay, but recognize that there is something going on. How can we pull out of that? always go back to that jolt of joy, or even journaling, right? To get it all out, get these emotions out. And it might not be very easy to tell someone that I'm struggling, but it's okay to write it down, or turn on that favorite song, right? I know Mike does karaoke, so I can only imagine how you feel, right, when that song hits. And
no, it does. It takes me into a whole nother world. Like, you know, that's my stress reliever. Like, when I do karaoke, like, I really, because, you know, some days I have long, hard days, but when I go karaoke at night, it's like I'm in a whole nother world. It's like everything else is behind me. It feels so good.
Yeah, to me, music was something that really helped me process through a lot. And I used to think to myself, why wasn't I ever depressed or sad or anything growing up, with so much things that happened? Well, I was at the club Monday through Sunday and I was dancing and having a good old time. But you know what? I was able to release.
Pick your phone up, Jacqueline. This is not like your typical TV show where you can't do things. Like,
oh no. So yeah, I'll say that people, you know, channel in with that one thing that gives you that jolt of joy, that gives you that excitement. It doesn't really matter. Over the weekend, we also went painting, you know, as a family. And my husband said to me, I can't remember the last time I was so at peace, just so focused.
Present, right?
Right, present. And the excitement from the whole family. We're comparing our little snowmen and things like that. So I'll say that too, you know, it's okay to even color, do crossword puzzles, but be in connection with our feelings. It's healthy. And to tell ourselves it's okay not to be okay.
And you mentioned also walking.
Walking
for me is exercising, walking, just taking a shower, you know, like music, something for you. Right. You have to do something for you and be present. And that's a lot of friends I have that they're not present. They're just always thinking about what's next or tomorrow and I remind them, like, enjoy it. Look at the sky, breathe, be present.
And you know what? All those are great points, and it's very accurate. But, you know, also, when I saw you at the luncheon a couple of weeks ago, you was at our Hispanic Chamber of Commerce luncheon. And the one thing that, you know, after you gave your speech, and you always end everything with be kind.
Yes.
That's important, right? Because typically when someone's in a bad mood, it typically comes from someone else's actions, right?
That's right.
Like, for instance, and this kind of hit hard too. I was watching the news, and then I read it on TMZ, where this guy, I don't know if you guys heard about it. I think it was maybe a month ago. He jumped to his death.
Yes,
at
I
Disneyland.
heard that. Yes.
Right, over something really silly, and it was like, I don't mean to say silly because I don't know what was going on with him, but him and his wife got into an argument, and she called the police, and you know he ended up going to jail, and he was a school principal, and he ended up losing his job, and you know, and it turned out like after like all that, his wife finally said, "Oh, you know what? It wasn't that bad. She didn't mean to call the police. She was trying to get him out of jail, but the damage had already been done in his mind."
Yeah.
You know, and it's just sad. So that's why, you know, it stuck with me when every time I see you and you do a speech or whatever, you always say be kind, because that is true. Like, you have to be kind to people, because you never know if your actions or what words you say, what the effects is going to be to that person.
Yeah. And
this guy has never done anything in his life. Right. So for him to just, like, he felt like his life was over. Like, he lost his job. He wasn't going to get that back. And you know, the school district, like, once you in the system and the police, and then he wrote a suicide note right on Facebook explaining everything. Like, you know, he said the legal system failed him because he never did anything. He didn't touch his wife that day. She just made a bad mistake, you know, because she was pissed off or whatever about the argument. But it's like, people have to watch what they say, because you never know the effects it's going to take on somebody, you know?
Yeah. Maybe they have those 15 minutes, like you said, and something happens. And I see it with coworkers, with people, when you're at the store, you know, people are like mad. Yeah. And, you know, we're all struggling, all of us.
It's all like silly stuff, right? At the end of the day, when you think about it, it's like, oh, that was silly. Like, sometimes I used to get mad at myself. Like, when I used to get mad at people, I used to go home like, why the fuck was I mad? Like, that was stupid.
Yeah.
I just wasted a whole day being angry over what?
True.
Yeah.
You know?
But yeah, it's true. A lot of people are struggling. So then the anger comes, right? And something does something to you, and then something bad comes. So yeah, I always tell people, be kind. Because like you said, like, you know, nobody knew he was struggling, Twitch.
Right.
I'm struggling. I mean, all of us are struggling with whatever things are happening in our lives. So just be kind, you know, like you said, avoid something, you know, try not to be mean.
Right. Yeah.
It is important. I mean, we have to be kind to each other and be there for each other. And, you know, even with the, I was reading, I think I was telling you this the last show or the other day, that I was reading after Twitch's situation, you know, I was reading comments, and, you know, typically everybody go online, they start saying, you know, check in on your loved ones, right? Check in on your loved ones. That's typically what everybody say, right? But then what about the people that actually do check in? Because this woman actually, she said that. She was like, because she told one of her stories. She said, you know what? I checked in on one of my friends one time, and that night we went out to dinner, and she said, I thought we was good. She went home, but then he went somewhere else, and he took his life.
Yeah.
And it's like, she was like, I checked on him. We went to dinner. Like, what do you do in those situations?
I mean, suicide is very complex, you know, and mental health. So a lot of the times when you see someone happy also, that means they already made up their mind of what they're going to do. So maybe that was one of those cases that he wanted to be with her
for the last time.
And then just went and had, you know, did what he did.
Right.
But I was reading a lot of comments on that too, and there's no, like, people saying he didn't think about his wife or his kids, or they're not there. Right. We are, because we are here. Right. But they're not really thinking about that. They just want to escape the pain, whatever they're having. They just want to escape that moment. Right. And unfortunately, that's the way they think that will end it. But they're not thinking, they're not being selfish. They don't also think about the dates, you know. Like Eric, it was my nephew's birthday that day, but he wasn't thinking about that. Right. You know, and it just happened. So it's just, I just want people to stop saying that they don't think about their loved ones or they're selfish, because it's more than that. It's, you know, it's complex and it's difficult because we're not there. Well, I'm not there. I haven't been suicidal, but it's just be understanding, you know, it's an illness, you know, mental health, depression. It's just an illness. Like people having physical conditions like a broken arm or something, they say, or cholesterol, you know, we talk about that, but we don't talk about how is your mental health. So people deserve to be treated the same, you know, to acknowledge their mental health.
Or even loneliness. I think loneliness it comes in different forms. You can have a family, you can have friends, but something's missing. You know, like, and loneliness is sometimes actually overlooked. And I did bring a few books, and talking about loneliness, it's I got this one given to me for my birthday. It's called Find Your People: Building Deep Communities in a Lonely World, where we're not talking to each other the way we are supposed to be, right? We're not checking in with each other and being vulnerable. You know, like there was one time when me and Mike had that conversation, and I said, how are you doing? And he was like, I'm okay. And I said, are you really okay? You know, being able to ask that. You can have everything in the world, you know, money, success. I mean, Robin Williams is the best example, right? And what we didn't see, we thought we knew what he was showing on the outside, but sometimes we don't know what's in the inside. And it can be really lonely, you know, having people maybe do something to you and trauma, not being able to channel through that. Always wanting to be stronger than what we really are. Or they say, oh, you know, like, you'll be okay. But how do I know that I am okay? You know, especially when you feel lonely and you're not able to channel through that. And I mean, at times, I know I can only speak on experience about myself, and where I was very lonely, and I was very depressed. I dealt with a lot of trauma that happened in my childhood that arose in my adulthood, where I never really realized how lonely I was. I thought by just being life of the party and having people accept me that it would go away, until all of that stopped. And then the reality really shook, where, you know, like I even said, even there was a time that I know my husband and I kind of talked about that. We were driving and I looked at the freeway and it looked so appealing to me. Mm-hmm. And that's what I said, because I was hurting so bad. But the reality was I was just lonely. I was very, very lonely. And I didn't know how to say, I'm not okay. You know, I have my kids, I have my husband, I have my friends, but I didn't have myself. I didn't know how to channel through all of that. And here I go. I said I wasn't going to cry.
Go ahead.
But you know, it's a reality of loneliness where I didn't think that that's what it was. You know, we had a new house. You know, I have the kids and I have a husband that loves me, but I lost connection with who I was as an individual. You know, and I think that that's where sometimes we fall deep into that depression, where we're not able to pull out. We can't think of all the positive things, all the good things, because we can't think further than that. You know, we're so stuck in the right now. And then we have so much time to think about all that. You know, and that's why I said this book is really great, because it's reminding us that although we're moving, you know, we really don't stop and savor and be present in the moment and really be thankful for the things that we have. So now I've tried to shift my mind and just think of all the great things. That's why I'm so thankful that I do have Mike, you know, in our lives, and being able to give me the chance to express and do what I do best. You know? So
let me ask you this, because you just touched on something that I want to really talk about, and I think it's important, because I was in a similar situation to you. First of all, how long ago was this?
The what?
You was feeling like that you was on the freeway? And
maybe about a month or two ago.
That was when, like,
yeah.
Okay.
So you're here now, right? Obviously, you know, because I want people to understand that it's not like, even though when you check on somebody, right, it's not going to get fixed overnight.
No.
Right? It's a journey, right? And you're going through your journey right now.
Yeah.
And look at you now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you're getting through it, right?
Oh, yeah.
You've been doing amazing things. You've been touching people. Like, you finally found, I believe you finally found your gift,
right.
your purpose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my purpose.
And you're fulfilling that right now. And your light is shining really bright.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Thank you. Yeah, even Jackie actually caught me in an episode where she's like, how are you? I said, I'm not okay right now. I'm not. And she was like, okay, then I'll call you back. Where I really sincerely was not okay. Right. You know, where finances, especially with the holidays around the corner, can be challenging. I've worked ever since I was the age of 17, and I've been a stay-at-home mom for the past 3 years. And, you know, like, I'll pick up a few things like the balloons, but that's not something that I'm very passionate about. It was more of a hobby where I felt lonelier because I felt like I needed to be like wanted, and I felt like I had to sell myself to prove who I was, where it didn't really give me a purpose. You know, like it still left me feeling kind of empty and guilty even at times, like, you know, like I felt bad, like having to make ends meet for me and my family, where I wasn't feeling okay and not being able to contribute, you know, and sometimes my husband tells me, you do more than what you imagine, you know, but the world tells you have to have this, you have to be able to do that. And it can be challenging, especially for moms. For moms that are at home, we have to deal with the kids. We have to deal with, you know, the house, the cleaning, the cooking. You know, like now I'm a wife. When do you ever have time for yourself? you know? So loneliness can come in different forms where you think from the outside in, people are like, oh, but you have it all together. You know, you're such a great power couple, you and your husband. But do you really know how I feel inside and how I struggle? So it's hard to say, or sometimes I would feel bad and guilty to say, well, I'm not okay and I'm not happy right now. But then I felt like I don't want to be ungrateful because I do have a loving husband. I do have great kids. I do have friends. But it could be challenging when you are depressed, you know, to look at all of those joyful things. So that's why, you know, like my certification really helped me with these tools to look back at that. It's okay to not be okay. And I recognize that I wasn't okay, but I did pull myself out of that. Okay.
Right, because of your twos of
because
the certification you went through with the Wellbeing Coalition, right?
Yeah.
And I was going to say that's what helped me, because like last year, and I was just talking to Nikki about that the other night, we was talking, or it was last night, huh? We was talking, and I was telling her that, you know, I went through a depression last year and I had suicidal thoughts. But what got me through it was my mindset training, because I've been doing mindset training for years. So that kind of got me through it, me thinking of my kids and, you know, thinking about, you know, how they would feel if I did do something, you know, and just went to my Joys of Joys.
Yeah.
And that really works. So, I mean, you know, if people are, you know, depression, you know, being in a depression or, you know, whatever state of mind you're in, like, you have to have a playbook. Like I always speak on this. You have to have a playbook, you know, and it's not going to be overnight. It's going to take time, but you will get through it.
Yeah.
Like nothing lasts forever. You will get through it. The pain, nobody's pain has lasted forever.
No.
You will get through it. I mean, there's loved ones out there. There's people out there that help you get through it. Right. You know, and that's why we have the 988 number now.
Yeah.
You know,
988. Yeah. And especially now, like you said, loneliness and stuff, and now the holidays.
Right.
Yeah.
Like for me, I have ever since after Halloween, I start going a little down in depression because of the holidays are coming, and I avoid to go to events as much as I can because you see everybody happy and you know, and I just don't want to be around that at the moment. But I kind of pushed myself when I went to the luncheon. Yeah, I'm like, I have to go. I have to get out of this. So it's just little things that I'm learning, you know, with this. This is my 5th holidays without Eric. So but it felt more as like the first time even. It's just crazy how times means nothing, like, you know.
Well, it's like you and Chris said the last time you was here. I mean, there's no destination for that. Like you're always going to go through that. You know, just like even like with Twitch's kids. I mean, because it happens so close to the holidays right now, right? Yes. So I'm pretty sure their holidays is never going to be the same.
Right.
You know, and it's not. You can't tell someone, oh, you know, time will heal our wounds. That doesn't apply to this.
Yeah. I'm
sorry, but it doesn't. Like time doesn't apply to that. Like it's never going to be the same. I mean, you will get through it, but it's never going to be the same.
Yeah. It's, you know, it's funny that you do say that because my dad was, he was diagnosed in November actually, and his surgery for his cancer 16 years ago was December 28th. And actually now that I'm really thinking about it, I was diagnosed with my thyroid cancer, I want to say right before Christmas as well. So I'm going to be this February 8 years remission. And for a while, Christmas was not a time of joy for me. You know, it really did remind me of a lot of hard times or things to process. So I remember getting the news right before Christmas and then still having to put up a face, right?
Yeah, so it's the trauma, right? That is in there. And
So it was and my kids were little, and they would ask us, why don't we have a tree? Why don't we have, because it reminded me of, you know, of a challenge. But I always tell people, like, I've been able to forget that I even have cancer. You know, sometimes they'll see my neck and be like, oh, what was that? And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I did have cancer, right? Because I've been able to just, like I said, so good about forgetting. But then now I see how hurtful that can be, not being able to process. So that's why I say it's okay to not be okay. And even through that, my cousin, here I go with my books. My cousin gave me this practicing mindfulness, and the reason why I brought all of these books is because I thought to myself, with the holidays, if you can't find the right gift for maybe someone that might be struggling, these are also good tools to put into their toolbox, So the first one, again, was find your people. And this second one is practicing mindfulness. And this third one, it's a shout out to Lois as well. That was our professor with our certified in applied positive psychology, is live kind and be happy, and this last book, this one is My Secret Weapon. We did receive it during our course in the CAP program, and it's Your Well-Being Blueprint, Feeling Good and Doing Well at Work. And this is also around the PERMA method, and it's by Michelle Quaid and Dr. Peggy Kern. And they are actually the founders of the well-being, goodness, I'm like blanking out right now. with the well-being lab. There you go. So what was great about that, especially with the holidays, it could be challenging for work, right? People are picking up extra shifts just to be able to give a gift.
I know.
To that child, even if you're a single parent, right, and just one income. And like we were talking about with the youth, with social media, everyone wants those fresh kicks, right? Everyone wants the Xbox, but what about if that parent can't really afford to make those big purchases? So I'll say that again, and I can't get tired of saying it. Please, 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 if you do know of someone that might be struggling, go out and get it. It's on Amazon. It's available. It's Your Well-Being Blueprint, Feeling Good and Doing Well at Work. It's around the PERMA method, and it's able to give you different types of tools to navigate through those emotions.
No, and thank you for that, because I think it's very important, especially reading, because that's definitely what helped me.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've been doing my mindset training for a few years now, and one of the tools that I have was reading, and reading all these books. They truly helped me understand life and people.
Yeah.
It's definitely a great tool. And it's crazy because when I was younger, I never liked to read.
Me neither.
Never liked to read.
Yeah.
But now, in hindsight, I'm like, dang, I wish I would have started reading when I was 5 years old. Like, the knowledge I would have now.
Yeah.
Wow. But I know everything happens for a reason. So.
It's so true. And, like on our first podcast, I said I struggled in school. I finished at a continuation high school. I was held back in the 7th grade, so I struggled a lot with my grammar. Spanish was my first language. So I would sometimes confuse the two languages or my grammar. I couldn't really read well. So for a long time, I just refused to read, just like you. And I'll say this was the first book that I could not put down, and I actually finished within a week. That's how good it was. Like having different approaches on how to navigate through my emotions. That was the biggest thing. And I don't get tired of saying this, it's okay to not be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it really reassured me of that. And it taught me that although I'm going through all of this, but I'm going to be okay. And that was the biggest thing. And that's why I'm able to be here now in front of you guys.
and you know what?
It gets better.
It does.
Yeah.
It really, really does.
Speaking of languages, so I learned a new language. So English, and I jacked this from somebody off TikTok.
No.
English is not my first language no more.
Yeah.
It's energy.
Oh, okay.
Energy is my
like
first
that.
language now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
English is my second. So I'm strictly going off energy from this moment forward.
Yeah, it's so true.
Like, energy is so important.
Yeah, it's good because if you're connected, or it gives you a chance to be present or pause, and read the energy or have the energy and give
It's
the
important that
energy.
we got to put out that energy.
Yeah.
And that's why, like how you say, be kind. Like you always got to be kind. You got to put out that energy all the time.
Yeah, I see a lot. So that's what I'm like, you know, how people talk to each other. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So I just went to the mall before coming here. Oh my God, it's a zoo over there. And I'm like,
hey,
and
I've been trying to stay away from the mall.
I know, and I don't go,
that.
believe me, because it triggers my anxiety. But I just had to get some gift cards for my nieces and nephews and drive. Oh, the way they're driving. And I'm just thinking, okay, it's Christmas and people are doing this, like you said, to each other. Is just, you know, just be kind. And I was at H&M getting a gift card there. And the manager was talking to the boy. And I almost turned around and say something because the way she was talking to him, you know, and I was just like, okay, Jackie, control yourself. Especially when they're kids, I'm really protective of, you know, teenagers. But it's just communication skills. If we can imagine if everybody will learn a little bit more, or energy, or, you know, it's okay not to be okay, or mindfulness. Imagine what kind of world we will have. But it's just everybody's concentrated on successful. But for me, success is just having a peace of mind, you know.
And you know,
for me,
I say it all the time, and I know I hear Kevin Hart say this all the time too. It takes so much more energy to be mad and angry, even to frown. Like they said, it takes more of your bones and muscles to frown than to smile. Yeah. You know, and I always tell people that I can't control people. So if I can't control you, or it's anybody, why am I going to spend time and energy trying to, knowing of the outcome is not going to be in my favor? Like I can't control you, so I can't. So if someone's having a bad day, and typically, you know, when someone's having a bad day, it's typically not reflected of you.
right?
We take things so personal, and we not realizing that, you know what, we didn't do anything. Like they're going through something, but we take it so personal. Like I think if we understand that, you know, there will be a lot of better outcomes.
Or just a simple hello or smile. Do you know how far a smile goes? Yeah. You know, that's, my kids always tell me, why do you talk to strangers? Yeah. Because you don't know what is going on. And actually, going back, Jackie, I did want to comment on the fact that I saw you at the Christmas parade. It actually gave me a jolt of joy, just so you know. When I saw you, I screamed out to you, Jackie!
Was you in the parade?
Yeah, she was.
It was spreading mental health awareness.
Yes.
Okay.
We had that be kind, you are enough. I don't remember what other one. Stay strong, something like that. In the parade, This is our second time.
Yeah, and you had the music too.
Yes, yeah.
But you know, going back to that, when you're like, you know, I wasn't feeling too good, and just so you know, you made so many people feel good, because that day I was kind of irritated because we did get there a little late. So we happened to see Mike, you know, when we just got there, and then it like reassured me, calm down, it's gonna be okay. And I was like, the parade's probably almost over, and we're like struggling to get to where we were. And then I had to like stop and just collect myself and be thankful, like, well, even though we didn't see the beginning, I was still able to see things that brought me joy. And above it, I saw you, and that really gave me a jolt of joy just to see you. So I can only imagine how I felt. Imagine other people that probably needed to see that. So thank you for that. You know, that was actually really, really awesome.
Leave it there. A lot of people were yelling like wonderful, or thank you for being there, you know, or clapping. So it's all of us, you know, and just like a little reminder and like a smile. Like I went to the store early, so I always like to ask people, how is your day going? And you see they're like, and the people want to talk, you know, we want to talk. It's just, you know, the busyness, right? That keep going and don't stop and produce.
You know, our professor actually gave us an example. When you are at the register and checking out, you should ask, do you have anything that you're looking forward to this weekend? Or do you have any plans? You know, because when you do just say, how are you doing? They can be dismissive. I'm fine. But if you're able to kind of engage with them, it does shift that. You know, it shifts the tone. And there was another gal that was and that was part of our cohort, that she thought to herself, do you know that feeling when you get flowers You know, it feels good, right? So what she does is she actually gets flowers for the cashier, and she has them scan it, and then she says, and this is for you. So there's other ways, right, that we can also help shift a day for people that we come across.
Spread kindness.
It's spreading kindness, giving, you know, paying it forward, like Mike was saying at Starbucks. Starbucks is the only place that I've ever encountered, you know, that someone does something. We were doing an event, and I was kind of rushing, and I thought to I still made sure that everything was done before I left to Starbucks. And someone happened to buy me coffee, and we just had a conversation, and his grandson happened to, you know, like try out for the team but didn't make it, and we were still able to just channel through that and think of the positivity. And he goes, you know, I'm going to get you, and I had never ever received that personally, and it felt so good. It really gave me a jolt of joy, and it kind of pulled me out of that funky stage, that state where I kind of I wasn't okay, but that made me all warm inside. So I say this, if you have the opportunity to make someone's day brighter by just a smile or a hello, or even catching up on, you know, like to see if they have anything to look forward to. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, it's funny because shout out to Starbucks because they do that. They've been doing that for years, and I've actually got caught in one of those lines a few times, like 3 or 4 times. Not caught, but because it was a great thing and I paid it forward. But it's funny because the first time it happened to me, I knew, like, I didn't know the girl in front of me, but I, like, you know, you could see her through a mirror or whatever. And so when I drove up, and they told me the girl in front of me, I thought she was flirting with me. And I was like, well, why did she drive off? And so the girl was like, oh, no, this is what they do. Like, and I was like, oh, really? I was like, so I gave her back my credit card. And I was like, okay, we'll pay for the other one behind me. Like, and that's how I found out about it. I thought the girl was flirting with me. It was funny.
No, we were actually driving up to Modesto, and that did happen to us. And I laughed because we were in the van and it was packed, and my kids aren't cheap. So I was okay, that person is very kind.
Wow.
You know, and then we're all like, okay, we'll do the person behind us. And I look, and it was just one person, and I felt so guilty.
three cars more.
Yeah.
Pay for the next 3.
Okay, but I just thought that was the funniest thing, you know. And I could only imagine, like, when they got our total, I would have been like, you know what, maybe just half. No, I'm just joking,
but you're gone. You're like,
but I thought that was the coolest thing. That was actually the first time it happened to us in the drive-thru, where they kind of go back, and without a conversation, without even knowing me, without me having to do anything. I thought that was the coolest.
So I mean, what do you do is because they already know, once you get up to the window, they already know what the other person behind you ordered, and they have a total. So you just say, you can just, like, you can start it. All you got to do is just ask, say how much was their bill, and just say add it to mine. And that's how they do it. So it's a trickle effect. Right. I'm actually going to do that. We just went to Starbucks, but the next time I go to Starbucks, I'm going to start one because it's the holidays, and I haven't done it in a while. Thank you for that.
Next time we make sure I know, so we go right by.
Me too. You see,
right? I'm gonna pick you up.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's funny.
I got a van, y'all, so I can load it up. Who's coming?
But see, that just the little actions, little actions that can do compliments too. You know, just little like you said, smile. Just, but above all, just ask really how you're doing. That's what you need to do too. Yeah, we all need to do that.
And if they say okay, follow through with, are you really okay?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah.
So how's your grief counseling going?
It's going good. I'm gonna have a Zoom tomorrow because of the holidays.
Oh, okay.
So I'm gonna do tomorrow is Spanish Zoom, and then next week English Zoom. And then I will need to see where I'm going to host for January because the Chimboli is going to be closed for the first 2 weeks of January. So I might keep it for Zoom until then. But it's going good. The word is going, it's going out. So
because I wanted people to know that, because even, no matter, if you lost someone by suicide or, other factors, there is still a grieving process that we still have to check in on our people, right? Because you never know how they're doing, My ex-wife, she just lost her mother a couple of months ago, and the other day I was helping her clean out her mom's house, and I asked her, like, hey, how you doing? But it was a generic, like, hey, how you doing? And she replied to me, Mom, not good, because she hasn't had the time to grieve because she's been busy, cleaning out the house, trying to sell the house, so she's been so busy, and it's the holidays now, and it made me pause because I was actually about to drive off, but I stopped, put the car in reverse, and I was like, okay, now, like how we was talking about with Arvin, how he said, when you ask that question, you have to be prepared to sit there now and, really have this conversation. And, I did. Obviously, that's my kid's mother, we get along great. So I did. I stayed, and we just had a good conversation, and, she was okay by the time I left. But we have to think about the people that that has lost people, and they still going through a grief. I have a friend of mine who lost her child and her grandchild from a car accident about 1.5 years ago, and she's still struggling, like bad. Like she's still struggling bad. And so,
it's recent, the first year you're kind of like in a fog and you're numb in a way, and you're busy, and people are there. But after, people will start moving on, and then you're stuck there. So 1.5 years, that's, oh my gosh, poor woman.
So she and I gave her your information too, because she lives out here, and I told her to reach out to you, and she said she will, because she has a foundation too.
Oh, she does?
Yeah, she has a foundation too.
What is the foundation? Do you know?
Oh, it's called Shivan Entertainment.
Oh, okay.
Shivan Entertainment. Yeah. But she like even for like Christmas Eve, like we just saw her last night. Was it last night? Sunday night. We saw her Sunday night. And so on Christmas Eve, I'm going to go, because she's not going to do the holidays, like, do anything. So on Christmas Eve, I'm supposed to be helping her to go to certain houses and just pass out gifts. Like, that's what she wants to do. Like, she don't want to celebrate. She just wants to.
Yeah, that's amazing.
That's awesome. And that's going to give her joy.
Yes, and that's something I tell people when they come to the grief support. And, I mean, we're all different, but I always tell them, volunteer. I mean, when you do something really like giving, or it makes you feel much better in that moment, and that's amazing what she's doing.
No, it is.
She's giving, bless her heart.
Yeah, I mean, and I always try to check in. Like I said, she's still like, it's still hitting her hard because it was her, only grandchild and daughter, and they was young. Her daughter, I think she was like 19 or 20. So it's rough. But she has a lot of support with the community and loved ones too, where she definitely has the support system.
I hope she reaches out. I would love to meet her.
So that's great. So what before the show, you was telling me about you doing some other events. What other events you doing?
So I reached out to NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness. It's NAMI, and we want to do something for men's mental health, and probably May. That's the month of World Mental Health. I mean, the Mental Health Awareness Month in May. So I'll give you more details about how that event will go, and then we're gonna do the candlelight for World Suicide Prevention, World Suicide Prevention on September 10th. So that's for people that lost someone by suicide or attempted by suicide. So we can do that, and then the walk, October 14. We have an official date, October 14.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
right before my birthday.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
On the 16th.
So, oh my gosh. Yeah. So those are the events I have for now, but I'm very passionate, and I need to do it for the men's mental health.
Nice.
I
love that. Yeah, because we about to do a show where it's just gonna be us guys.
Oh, that'd be awesome too.
So that's in a couple of weeks.
That's actually, it's gonna be at the end of the month, and I brought that to Mike's awareness, and I said, sometimes I think men need to be able to talk with men. and be able to be vulnerable with each other, be able to connect on that level. We had a conversation before when we first got here, with boys growing up, right? They always have to compete. Who's first? Who's taller? Who's faster? It goes on and on. But what about that boy that is okay with not being first, with not being the tallest, with not being the strongest? They tend to break them down. And especially in our culture, we tend to teach our boys to numb their emotions, not to be able to process, right? Don't cry because you're not a girl. But when are they supposed to cry? When are they supposed to not be okay and navigate through that? So I think that's why even like in the Hispanic culture, you see a lot of depressed men, and then they become angry, then become alcoholics or domestic violence, because they don't know how else, right? They have to be men. They have to be angry. They have to be firm. So I think it's going to be a great podcast to have, a few.
It's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
A few gentlemen. Yeah.
I'm happy you guys are doing that.
Having that conversation.
Yes, it needs to have more light, that showing that, we're doing it. That doesn't make you any less man.
Right.
And just sharing your emotions,
right. Like the stigma behind masculinity, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like what is masculinity? Like who really has defined that? What makes a man less of a man just because they're not doing all of that? Sometimes they might want to read. Sometimes they might want to paint. Sometimes they would like to karaoke, Yeah. Does that make them less of a man? I think that's more of a man because they're actually willing to step out and do all that and show, that they're sensitive or they're poets and, they're connected with their emotion. Like that to me is everything. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting and neat, to see what comes.
Are you going to be there?
No, I'm not. That's
who's going to be the narrator? What is it? The narrator?
That's actually
the narrator. You're not going to be the narrator.
No, I'm not going to be here.
When
Only
you get
men
a bunch of guys, and we're going to start talking about sports. And,
no, you have to start. You're gonna have an agenda.
No. You'll be, but see, that's the thing. I think it needs to be more than just that. Like you said, how is your friend supposed to come to you and tell you like, damn, man, I just got in a fight with my girl and I really fucked up. You know what? I think I'm gonna have Angelo come on that show too. Angelo would be a great guy who would actually get that conversation like that. Right, and those are the conversations men need to have.
Yeah,
need to have, because how are they supposed to tell their friend, I'm sad right now?
Yeah, I want to cry. I feel weak, or I'm not doing this right. Like you're saying about competition. Like they have this image like they have to have it all together, but nobody has it all together. Right. We're all struggling, all of us.
Or women put a lot of pressure on men too.
Oh my gosh, yes. I know we talk a lot about women in this country, and Me Too, which I know is a great, how do you call that? Movement. But there's also so many women that might lie. And then the poor man, and I always try to be more on the men's side because I see how you said some girls and, they can be mean.
They can break a man very easily.
Big time.
They really can, especially when they see their weakness, they use it against them, and that's the saddest thing.
Like, see, like the principal, I mean, I read the story and I felt angry for her, like, because she did that, but like Mike said, it was a mistake. That it went beyond.
It was a heat in the moment.
Yeah,
when you're in the heat of the moment, we all say things that we really don't mean, but we got to be conscious of that because you never know what's going to happen. I know when I was younger, I used to say all kinds of shit. Yeah. But now when I almost get in, I don't even say I argue with people no more. Like now I kind of like catch myself and be like, because I have to be mindful of the consequences that come with that.
Yeah.
And that's serious now. Yes. So I am mindful now. Like I love having healthy conversations. I mean, me and Nikki, we have conversations almost every night, like healthy conversations.
Right.
And they're great. And, so and I want to thank you, babe, because you Nikki's my girlfriend, you guys.
Hey.
Just like she's being shy right now. But no, just yesterday, or I forgot it was Sunday, she even like told me, like, if you ever feel, because we was talking about suicide, she was like, if you ever feel that way, like, talk to me, tell me. Like, she sat there and like looked me in my eyes and was like, no, for real.
Yeah.
Like, that's important. And so I'm grateful for that. Thank you for that, because we do need that.
Yes, support. Yeah,
We need that support.
You need to, like, when I see my boyfriend, I'm saying my husband. I'm in the moment here with you guys.
You see, but it's contagious. I know.
With my husband, because he has his moments too, and I kind of like try to get him. Okay, let's go for a walk, or let's do this, or sometimes just go sit down, be by yourself. But always I tell him the same thing. Please, if you need to, tell me something, I'm okay. Just tell me, but please communicate.
Right.
Yeah, and I see it in his work is really stressful, and it's just society, everything. So when I ask him what is wrong, and he's like, there's nothing specifically. I just feel depressed. So,
and you know what? And I get that, because I am a guy, obviously. And, sometimes, we have people that say, talk to me, whatever. But in the back of our minds, like I know certain people, my friends, right? Like, they'll say that, right? But I know if I say something to them, like, I already know their reaction, right? So it's like, I don't want to go through that, right? So that's why I'm grateful for, like, Nikki. Like, she made it easy. Like, regardless of what I say, I know if I say it, it's going to be taken with love, and I'm in a safe space. I'm going to say that.
Yes, there
you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in a safe space with her. Like, she's not going to react. She's not going to go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel safe with her, telling her something, because I know she's going to have that conversation with me, regardless if, she might disagree with what, I might tell her, but at least I know I feel safe enough to know that it's going to be a healthy conversation. Most people don't have that. So, like, when you're dealing with people, again, be kind. Like, if someone wants to tell you something, like, don't just go judging them. Like, don't react so quickly. Understand them. Understand why they're saying it or doing whatever they're doing. We have to have compassion and empathy for that.
Because you're building your psychological safety.
Right.
Like, and also those are healthy boundaries. Like, where she's given you that to be able to come and share those things. And sometimes it's not the easiest thing, right? To come, and especially when you're dating, and this is a good opportunity, because usually when you're first getting to know each other, that's the honeymoon stage, right? You're trying to
be happy and good.
Get those points and everything is fine. But to be vulnerable like that, that's true connection. Wow. Yeah. But what you're doing is building your psychological safety, because then you could come to each other like, I'm not okay right now. And at least she has that empathy and be like, hey, like, let's talk about it. And a lot of times we're so busy, we're so caught up in our own head, we don't know how to disconnect. And, there was a manager that did tell me that once when I went to work and I wasn't okay. She says, we all have that little pile of shit, right? You have to leave it at the door. And on your way out, pick it up. But know that when you come in here, you can leave it at the door. And know that you're safe. And that always stuck with me. So I always try to shift my mindset. Although I have my own bag, excuse my potty mouth today, but we all have our own, bag of shit. But at least when I do walk into the studio, I do leave it at the door. And it just makes me feel so light. That's the word. Like I kept saying, when I put these headphones and I'm in front of this mic, that's what it is actually. I feel light because I left everything out and I'm able to disconnect. But what I was doing is building my this is my safety net, and I think that's healthy for relationships to build on that. But it's not something that we're really taught, right? We got to look cute. We have to have the
perfect. Pretend you're perfect.
Right. Yeah. Where am I going to take them to eat? And knowing that your income is not where it need or it should be, right? But you're building on that and being able to say like, well, let's just try something. Let me cook for you or other things. But I'm working on my career or going to school but when you're dating, sometimes women could be hard on men. Like, well, you should have it together and expect.
Because I think that's what I don't know if society teaches them, but I don't, how the man's supposed to take care of you, or his income's supposed to be bigger than yours, or he has to be the main provider. I don't know what it is, but I see a lot of that.
Right. Yeah. Even with social media, right?
Yeah.
No, it is. And I think, with society, they've always taught us that, like, the man has to be the provider, and that comes with a lot of stress. Like, that's one of the things Nikki and I was talking about the other night. Yeah. With my situation is, like, I've been in a high situation before, and I've been down, I've been high. But it's like the older we get, like I was telling her, the reason why last year I got so depressed is because I'm 51 now, right? And for me, like, I was on a low, and it was like, I was just like mentally tired. Like, I didn't want to fight no more. Because, right, every day is a fight and a struggle, right? So I've been doing it for like 51 years, right? And so for me, I was like, you know what? I just got mentally tired. I just didn't want to fight no more. Like, it's hard. Like, you got to get up and grind every day. And,
I know.
And, for a man, like, that's what we're taught. Like, we have to, like, right? And mentally, that just fucks with you.
Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry, but it does.
No, it does.
I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing. It really does. For a man, that shit fucks with you. And, and you get tired. Yeah. And you just, like, want to just throw your hands up. Like, you know what? I don't want to do this no more.
It's so true. That's what's important. Like, women, it's all right. Pop your man's shoes off and rub those feet.
Yes,
have
do
them,
that.
Exactly. Have them lay back and scratch their back. That's my husband's thing. Like, it's okay, to do these things. It's not going to make you less of a woman. Oh, because of your nails. No, the man's paying for those nails. You know what I mean? It's okay to make them feel like they're appreciated. Yeah. Like, that's the biggest thing. It's appreciation and being kind to them, giving them compliments.
Yeah, it's tough to. Yeah. I will say, I think it's tough to be a man because I see it, like you said, is and so I always compliment him, give him a, kind of like you can do this, kind of like motivation. Yeah. And, and no, we don't have to eat out every night. Right. So, okay, no, so if you want, I always put his needs first, but I don't forget about mine, but I just try to be more kind and nice because it's a lot, being a man in this country, in this society, I think it's a lot. Yeah.
So. And it's about teamwork. It's not about someone else's needs in front of the other person. I was like, when I first met Nikki, that's one of the first conversations we had. I know I'm putting you on the spot because you're right here. It's okay. But that's one of the first conversations she wanted to have because she was like, this is teamwork. Like, when you don't have it, I got it. Like, I got you. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I love when she said that. I was like, I fell in love with her. Like, I was like, wow. Like, I love that. It is all about teamwork. It's no one's above the other person. Right. It's like we're walking on this journey side by side together. Like, you're not in front of me and I'm not in front of her.
Right.
And that's how it should be.
It's a friendship. I always say, if the kids are all you have in common, what happens when they leave?
Right.
Like, if you're not able to have that camaraderie or that friendship, or, I even say this, you can write a little note and put it in their lunch pail, like, what if they're having a tough day and they come across that, and just giving them a little bit of gratitude, that goes a long way. Right. Even when Brian was kind of having a little bit of a challenging time, what I did is I found a bunch of old pictures and I put them on his door, so every morning when he would open the closet door, now he sees all of that. And that's another form of jolt of joy to remind men,
that's dope.
Like of that.
Yeah.
So I actually did that for all of us. I did that for his room. I did that, or for his closet, my closet, and my son's mirror. I put a bunch of pictures of just like things that he's done or childhood, and my daughter, she used to be in dance and things like that, or pictures of her and her brother, like so they can, like just savor that moment. That's the word. Yeah. Savoring the moment, being present. And sometimes Jimmy touched on that when we were having the conversation with the veterans. Right. It's okay to revisit the past it's not okay to live in it.
Right.
You know, so those are little, even like nudges. You like to remind, like my husband, he's be a artist. You know, he used to love tagging, and when he talks about it, it gives him so much joy. Like even the kids tease him when there's a piece of paper, all of a sudden it's like there's things. Wow. But you know, that's a part of his joy, and that's what helped him channel through a lot of things in life. So that's why when we were painting, you know, like it really put him back into that, you know, that moment. Mm-hmm. But reminding our men of these things, even when you were dating, or maybe if they were super fit and now they're kind of out of shape, reminding them of good times, you know, and that's going to motivate them to get out there, even for ourselves. Right. I put a picture of me, what I used to look like okay, girl.
And you know, it's hard. It's hard. As much as, you know, us men want to be appreciated and all that, it's hard to, and I know you get on me about this all the time, to accept those little things, right? Gratitude, right? And I'm learning. Nikki does a lot for me, and it's hard for me to let her pay for things and to do things.
Oh, that's another one. Yes, we take turns. Yes.
Yeah, but it's hard. It's hard. But
no, it's okay.
No, I know it's okay. I'm learning.
Yay.
I'm learning.
Oh, that's awesome. That's, you know, because like I do that sometimes, and even the cashiers, or the way they look at me, and I'm like, oh, it's my turn. I mean, right, you know,
no, that's
but it's okay. And even he tells me, he's like, really? I'm like, yeah, it's on me. You know, just little things. You know?
No, that's the first thing that, you know, it's funny. That's the first thing she said when we went out to dinner. The first time she did it, she was like, no, it's my turn. You paid last night. And I was like, well.
Like, oh, we're taking turns now?
Yeah, I've never heard of that. Like, okay.
Let me get dessert.
I know, right? Give me that bottle of wine.
Extra.
But that's what it's supposed to be like. Yeah. It takes a little bit of weight. Even when I was doing the balloons and I would get paid, I joke with Brian. I was like, yo, sugar mama got you, baby. But, you know, I'm sure he can, you know, like it probably gives him a little bit of joy. Yeah. You know, because it feels good. That gratitude. That
no, it does. It does. I do. So. I'm extremely happy right now. I haven't been as happy in a long time.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. Aww. Yeah, that's why I commented the other day. I was like, you guys look really good. You guys really, really, even when we went out to the light show, you know, you guys had a really cute picture.
She makes me look good.
But being playful is key. Still being able to be playful, you know, even when Brian's getting ready, he loves to look at himself, and I'll come by and pat him on the butt like that's right, Daddy, you know, like, but why not? Yeah. You know, if you're not going to toot their horn, well, hell, who is? Right. So I do, you know, I do fuel him up a lot. That's good. You know, exactly, right? I gotta ignite it.
Why are you rubbing your hands?
Cause fire. But
that's funny.
You know, it's
all right. So, what else you got for us, Jackie? You want to talk about anything, like anything else you're doing, or?
No, just you know, when something tragic happens on the celebrity world and everybody's concerned and talks. I mean, maybe we should just keep talking about this all year long, you know?
Absolutely.
And us checking with each other all year long, being kind all year long, not just the holidays, you know? If we can just do everything, imagine what kind of world our kids will have. And
right.
I mean, my heart breaks for the kids, because with this world right now it's really scary, but we can turn it around, hopefully. We can be kind, you know.
We will.
And just keep having the conversation. I love the idea that you guys are gonna do the old man. Yeah, that's very needed. I mean, thank you for that. Fun? Thank you. Yeah.
No, not only that, but you know, we're also working. We're gonna be working with Brenda over Pretty Little Poppy with the kids.
Oh, cool.
Because that's important. Cause we had a couple of her, like 8 of her kids or 7 of her kids. Yeah. Couple of weeks ago on the show, just talking about their business, but we also want to talk about their mental health, because kids that age getting into business at a young age, they're going to need it.
Oh yeah,
like it's really stressful. Like they're having fun right now, but as they scale, they're going to need it. And so we got to have those conversations.
Yeah, and hopefully they learn about boundaries and pause, because like we didn't grow up like that. So we learned, we were programmed to be busy and hustler, right? Like just always going. And when we don't do something, sometimes I feel guilty, like, oh my gosh, I should be doing something, you know, because it's all those years that we grew up hearing that, you know, that you have to keep working. And if you're not working, then you're lazy, you know, but it's okay to have a day off.
I had that moment yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Didn't I? Like, because we was out late Sunday and I didn't get in because I was extremely busy this weekend. And normally I have one day on the weekend to like really just relax. But this weekend I was extremely busy. And we was out late Sunday, but then Monday. And typically I can like be out till 3 a.m. and still get up at 5:30. Monday morning I did not get up. My body was just like, nope, you're not doing it. And I didn't get like out of bed till like 9 or 10. And in my mind, my whole day was shot. I was irritated. Like I told her, I said, babe, I'm in a bad mood. Like I was irritated because I feel like I didn't get nothing accomplished. Like, and I don't like that feeling. Like I like every day to be productive somehow. And, you know, and plus I hate Mondays anyways. So
we've had a Monday experience.
It was all bad. It was just all bad yesterday. But, I mean, she helped me through it. I mean, we ended up having a great night, great evening. Watched some Monday Night Football and had a great dinner, and it was good.
You see, you were able to pivot.
It was like a self-care day for you.
It was. Like she came over and we just sat on the couch, watched football, had dinner, and it was great.
Yeah. But that's where I think we had that conversation about how important sleep really is. And how...
Oh, we're not about to talk about this.
But let me tell you.
Or listening to your body too.
Right. No, and not only that, but setting up like schedules, like a sleeping pattern. And another important thing is disconnecting from your phone before you sleep. You know, at least half an hour before you sleep, you should put your phone down, get a book, or even meditate or be connected with yourself, you know, and then proceed to go to sleep, but have that structure. And, you know, another example is losing 90 minutes of sleep is equivalent to having drinking a 6-pack of beer. And that's why we tend to feel very groggy when we lose a certain amount of sleep, or if you're playing catch up, eventually your body will shut down, you know, like, and with not having a good rest or good sleep or good balance comes the depression, the anxiety, you know, like sleep insomnia when you're off, you know. And that's why I was, you know, really stressing the fact that we don't have a good sleeping pattern or habits where we disconnect. That's why we'll dream or we'll think or we'll get up I didn't do this. Did I do that? Oh my God, tomorrow. Let tomorrow be. Right. You know, I always say live in the now and then we'll worry about tomorrow. The beauty of tomorrow is it hasn't happened yet. There's nothing we can possibly do.
You know, I actually like that half-hour thing because that actually works. And I'm about to put our business out there because that works. Because Nikki likes to turn off the TV and she says, let's just sit here or lay here and just talk, like with no distraction. And honestly, ever since she got me doing that with her, like I've been sleeping a lot better.
You see, my friend?
Like that really does work.
Exactly. And you have to be disciplined with that, you know, like, and put your health first, and then you'll see how everything else just falls into play, you know. And it's, again, part of the PERMA method. Health is really, you know, like, important in our well-being. Even sitting down is the new smoking. You know, like, you should be. Even if you're gonna, you know, if you're reading an article or a book, you can still be moving. You can be walking around. You know, you don't necessarily have to be sitting. And it gives you that energy, that nug, you know, like, or that balance or that energy that we were maybe lacking in. Or even if we might have been languishing, that kind of like, oh, wow, you know, I kind of feel a little bit more energetic. You know, that's why it's good to go out for walks, go out for runs. It all really comes together, you know.
Absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Well, we are running out of time, you guys.
So I actually wanted to end it with these little fun cards that I got. They're called Crush Your Goals, guys.
Crush Your Goals.
So we will end it with this. The only way to get a thing done is to start to do it. Then keep on doing it, and finally you'll finish it. So I challenge everyone to kind of get started on that. Like it's part of a tiny habit, even if you want to lose weight, well, maybe first start by putting the shoes next to the door. Second step is getting out the door. Third step will finally be starting that walk. Next thing you know, you'll probably be losing the weight without even working as hard. So tiny habits, go a long way. Just get out there and
I like
start
that.
it.
I like that. I always tell people, because I'm a big advocate for this, like if you have an idea or something that's in your mind, just do it. Like just don't think about the little details.
Yeah.
Like at least, like even like for example, for the podcast, right? I tell people or music, like go out and create it. Now you have something tangible in your hand. Now you know where you at. Like you can be way back here or way up here, but you don't know unless you start.
Right. Yep.
You don't know where you are unless you start. So just do it, because once you do it, then you have it, and now you know where you are to move forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but a lot of people, they put so much details and things. Well, I'm not ready because the lighting's not right or the paint's not right. It's whatever it is. It's like, no, just do it. Like do it, because you don't know where you are.
Right.
So I love that. Like you have to start somewhere and to know where you are.
Yeah. And you're already starting by getting up. Right?
Exactly.
That's the first start. You're up.
Right.
So let's get to it.
Well, thank you again, Jacqueline, for always joining us. Truly appreciate it. You guys reach out to Jacqueline on her Instagram at You Are Enough Foundation. Any last words you want to?
Just be kind.
Exactly.
Be kind.
Powerful words.
Also, don't forget about being kind to yourself. Boundaries, self-care. Drink your water, rest.
Yes, water is very important. Yes.
Any last words for you?
No. I think, again, be kind to each other, and it's okay to not be okay. Above everything, holidays can be a little bit challenging for us, but it doesn't have to be impossible, right?
Right.
Even putting on your favorite song, even if you're by yourself, it's okay to cry. But then let's shift it with a little jolt of joy. Even if we're crying at the top of our lungs, but singing that song, it'll give you that little nug that you need. So everyone be well.
So I want to end it with this. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, Asian, Latin, rich, poor, Christian, Buddhist, Jewish, gay, transgender. Just live your life to your full potential, you guys. Enjoy your journey. It's your life. You only get one. Be blessed and be kind.
Hey.
And be well.
Yes, be well.
All right, we out of here, you guys.
All right.